Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of Salem. We're going to begin our service this morning by singing hymn number 90, which is in the gray hymnal in the front of should be in a chair in front of you, or you can follow along on the screen. Hymn number 90, From All the Fret and Fever of the Day. Please rise, embody your spirit.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. Today as our guest speaker, we have the Reverend Mark Gallagher, a dear friend to this congregation. So welcome, Mark. Driving out of town the other day, I saw the gold fields from hay being mowed, and it reminded me it was August. And for me, August comes with a sense of the need to quiet down, become calm, and give yourself a little rest from the little engine that's going all the time. So too can regularly coming and attending a Sunday service, in person or online, remind us to relax a little, calm down, and renew the calm of our souls. So welcome to this time of calm. Breathe, said the wind. How can I breathe at a time like this, when the air is full of smoke of burning tires, burning lives? Just breathe, the wind insisted. Easy for you to say, if the weight of injustice is not wrapped around your throat, cutting off all air. I need you to breathe. I need you to breathe. Don't tell me to be calm when there are so many reasons to be angry, so much cause for despair. I didn't say to be calm, the wind said. I said to breathe. We're going to need a lot of air to make this hurricane together. Let us remember the importance of breathing and being present in the moment as we say our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration, build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hope, and serve the needs of our world.
Spirit, may the wounds that living brings, plunge our pain
church and at your grace, as we meet both friend and stranger, may we see our Savior's face. Living stream that heals the nations, make us channels of your power. All the world is torn by conflict, wars are raging at this hour. Saving Spirit, move among us, guide our winding human course, till we find our way together, flowing homeward to our source.
Reverend Mark, you want to come up and join us in helping to light the chalices, if I can? Okay. My mask is going to hang by my earring. Each week at UUCS, we light 3 chalices. The first is for friends and members here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Salem. The second chalice we light for our friends in Šibenfalva, Transylvania, Romania. I was trying to think of any news I'd heard lately from them, but I'm not sure there is much. They seem to be doing well. And the third we light for our children and youth in religious education and in the world at large. We light this chalice not because we must, but because we may. We light this chalice not because we have the truth, but because we each come bearing and seeking many truths. We light this chalice in connection across culture, distance, class, and language. We light this chalice that our religion may be a beacon of hope, light, and justice. We light this chalice to kindle our hearts and our minds. Lois E. Van Leer. Amen. So for this summer, as some of you may know, Time for All Ages has not been occurring as, John in the back is suggesting that we actually sing the flame into the light as is part of our ritual to make this service happen. So let's do that. Marcia, may you lead us?
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Well, I told Mark this morning that I was very quiet and calm today, and as you can see, I am. So I will try to pay attention a little bit, all right? Now, Time for All Ages, not been happening because they've been doing mini camps this past summer. Last week was Dance Till You Drop Week, and they had a special guest, Annie Jocelyn, owner of American Ballet Academy in Salem, as well as you know, fellow UUCS member. She taught the kids a choreographed dance for 45 minutes, and then those of us that were here got to see it perform in the fellowship hall after the service. And the kids even made their own costumes for the performance, which was fun. Molly says, if Annie can get my son to dance in front of an audience, I can't imagine what she could do with an entire class. She actually gives free introductory lessons for boys in the area that want to try out ballet. To learn more, feel free to ask her or check in with Molly to learn more. Today is Treasure Hunt Mini Camp Day. The older kids will learn about geocaching in the forest, and the younger kids will get to do some fun activities and crafts and go on a treasure hunt. And now I believe we get to see the short video of what was done last week. Is that right, John? Yep, here we go.
Each of us in our lives knows pain and sorrow, loss, and fear. And because we do, we are moved to compassion as we regard others in their pain, sorrow, loss, and fear. Part of being human is that our hearts resonate sympathetically with others. And through this communion with others, we are also moved to regard our own sufferings more tenderly, as is befitting. So I invite you now to bring into your awareness the sufferings which are upon someone whom you know at this time, whatever their particular sufferings might be, physical, situations, mental or emotional distress. Contemplate a loved one in their suffering and struggle. And as you do, open your heart to them in mercy and well-wishing. You see them in their suffering and meet it with mercy and well-wishing. And as I sweep my hand across the room, I invite you to speak out the name of someone that you are holding in compassion this morning. Each of us has been blessed in many ways and has much to be grateful for, and yet we often overlook these blessings and give our attention instead to what is lacking. So I invite you now to call awareness to some situations or events which merit gratitude, be they big, important, long-term things or tiny, fleeting things. Take a moment to savor these things and experience genuine gratitude. And call out in a couple of words something for which you are grateful this morning. May we take this compassion and gratitude deeply into our hearts and carry it with us.
Good morning. I'm Lorna Youngs with Lifelines Lay Ministry, and I managed to get my mask off and not tangle up in my earring. So there, Sarah. You can leave a concern or joy on our website. Just go to the front page and push the button for Joys and Sorrows, and it'll take you right to this place where you can write out what you want to say. The other place, of course, is the book, where, the old style, where you actually write it physically, and a member from Lifelines Lay Ministry will read it up here in the beginning or in the middle of this early part of the service. We are here at Lifelines to assist the minister in providing just that extra care and support that the congregation may need. There were 2 joys and sorrows written in the book, I'm sorry, not in the book, but written online this past week. The first is a concern, both from Lisa Laramo and from Sarah Pickett, and it's about our friend Bonnie Hummel. She's been struggling with health issues and has spent a little time during the heat wave in Salem Hospital, and now has been moved to the Avamere Transitional Care down on Boone Road. She's in room 320B. And she would certainly enjoy visitors or magazines, and we need to send our love and our light and our healing to her. And the second is a joy from Ed Kramer. Last weekend, I attended my older daughter Caroline's wedding in Seattle. She was a beautiful bride. What father would think anything else? Her new husband is an outstanding young man. Please join me in wishing them health and happiness as they begin their new life together. Thank you very much. And if you have any concerns, you can get a hold of Lifelines by either emailing us or call the office. Thank you.
The second Sunday of every month, there's a ritual called Compassionate Connections, led by Lifelines Lay Ministry and Reverend Rick. It's a time to get together after the service if you have a special concern that you would like to share and get the support of others. And that's happening next week, so thank you.
Our pastoral hymn is number 352, Find a Stillness, in the gray hymnal, number 352, and you may remain seated. Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find through harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
When the despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound of fear for what my life and my children's lives may be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
I think it's fair to say that we live in an age of anxiety. Without having anything like proof, I would venture that for modern people like ourselves, anxiety is a much more prevalent feature of our daily lives than was the case for our ancestors, or for people living today in non-modern circumstances. Remember, modern doesn't just mean that it pertains to the current moment of history. Not everyone living today is modern. Traditional peoples, such as agrarian villagers and nomadic herders, are not living a modern life. Modern life and its characteristic affluence have brought us innumerable advantages, comforts, and opportunities. More so, obviously, for the wealthy than for the poor. Conversely, traditional life typically involves far more physical discomfort and less opportunity. Modern life has huge upsides, obviously. It also tends to bring a characteristic mindset and characteristic challenges, which tend to stimulate anxiety more than traditional life does. Far more, I reckon. We used to have few options available to us in terms of where we would live, what our occupation would be, who we would marry, whether we would have children, our religion, our lifestyle. Very limiting, we would say, from our modern perspective. Yet, in terms of anxiety, in traditional society, you pretty much knew where you stood and what was expected. And by and large, I think people just got on with it. There was lots of hardship and outright misery, to be sure, but you neither expected it to be otherwise, nor thought it was your job to make sure it was otherwise. Your suffering, in other words, was not an indication of failure. In traditional life, you were held in a strong network of stable relations and steady understandings, and went through life with those holding you together. For us, though, it feels like there's so much riding on this, that, and the other thing. And we've got to manage it all. And so much can go awry. And we, or somebody, is to blame, and so on and so forth. Anxiety is a particular variety of fear. Look at our ancient ancestors roaming the savannah. Like any animal, at night, when they heard a leopard nearby, their heart would be pounding, their senses on full alert. Their muscles flush for fighting or fleeing. That is fear. Fear. There's a leopard nearby. The body and mind gird for instinctive action, which, when needed, is very, very useful. When the leopard goes away, that primal fear recedes. Anxiety, on the other hand, is having a similar emergency type response pattern because leopards exist. Because there are leopards out there. Because I've got to figure out a way to deal with this leopard problem, which never really goes away. That's what we moderns have so much of. Anticipatory fear, abstract fear, social fear. An actual leopard leaves, but the imagined leopard never does. It starts when we're anxious about that math test coming up. And then we're anxious about our semester grade. And then will we get into that college? Will we get that job? Does so-and-so really like us, or are they just being polite? Etc., etc. We might be late for work. We might lose our job. We might have to stay in our job. Our sibling, parent, child, friend, coworker might do that thing that they sometimes do, which is so unnerving to us, which gets our goat, which raises our anxiety. Or we might disappoint them, which raises our anxiety. And of course, it's not just our personal lives that make us anxious. The opposing party might gain in the coming elections. Those mean or stupid people might impose their tyranny on the rest of us. People of all political persuasions seem to have that fear. Those other people are going to impose their tyranny on us. It's a thing we share. And now we even have to wonder whether the basic institutions of our democracy will hold. There is a lot to worry about. There's a lot to worry about. We are of a mindset which is prone to worry. We humans do that. And so ours is an age of anxiety. This morning, we contemplate not strategies for ensuring against all that can go wrong, not ways that we can prevail over the many lurking dangers. Instead, our point here is to recognize that given that anxiety is rampant in our age, and until our anxiety-provoking way of life evolves in a different direction, it's going to be a vitally important task for us to practice self-calming. Self-calming. Being in a state of anxiety dampens our higher functions, our clear thinking, our sense of compassion, our joy and generosity. We're just not as capable of our best functions when we're in a state of anxiety. Given that anxiety is likely to arise, we need to embrace the wisdom and necessity of becalming ourselves, turning the anxiety off, or at least dialing it down. The main thing I want to convey to you this morning is the importance and appropriateness of self-calming. Recognizing when anxiety is upon you or is coming upon you, realizing that it interferes with your best functioning, and undertaking measures to restore yourself. Perhaps this seems too obvious, and yet I observe that when we begin to get anxious, I need to calm myself, is not usually the first thing that comes to mind. Instead, we tend to get revved up about what they need to do, or what they ought not to do, or should stop doing. Often we get caught up in ruminating, running the threatening situation around in our minds, or reacting, springing thoughtlessly into action. Now, we probably will need to think about the situation, and we probably will need to respond in some way. But all of that will go better if, when we do, we're not in a state designed to get us ready to fight leopards. Okay, so how can we calm ourselves? How can we lead ourselves from an anxious state to a calmer state? Now, when someone seems to be getting too worked up, there's an urge to tell them to calm down. But have you ever noticed that telling someone to calm down usually only provokes them further? Imagine that you yourself are getting worked up, and because our reflection here today has made such a deep and lasting impression, you remember what it is you're supposed to do. Becalm yourself. What exactly can you do about that? Well, we've learned that when we're anxious, it affects our body. Some of the ways that happens are unconscious, like hormone secretions and blood pressure rising. Some of those ways are, or can be, conscious. For instance, muscle tension. During the scary part of a movie, you might find that you're clutching the arm of your chair. You're furrowing your brow, generally tensing up, like bracing for impact. Something similar may be going on when you contemplate a personally vexing situation. You're thinking about something and, right, your body gets some tension in it. So to counter anxiety, one of the most fundamental things you can do is to intentionally relax your muscles, especially the ones which you notice have gotten tensed up. A lot of times, the face is pinched up with anxiety, right? The brows furrow, the face pinches up. Soften around the forehead and the eyes. In fact, right, it's kind of instinctual in a way. We go, when we get anxious, a lot of times we go, oh my goodness, right? And we stroke the forehead. That's a good thing. Loosen the jaw. Oh, maybe even do this. Oh. The hands tend to clench up. Shake out the arms and the hands a little bit. Oh. Sometimes you might notice that your tongue is pressing against the roof of your mouth. This is a great one. It happens to me all the time. And I notice, why is my tongue pressing up against the roof of my mouth? It's a real, very sensitive emotional barometer. The tongue, it wants to press up against something, to like holding tight. Relax the tongue. Pull it away. Let it be in space in your mouth, not pressed up against something. The point of doing all this stuff is that it sends anti-panic messages to the body and to the subconscious mind. It says, we're okay here. Put down your weapons. It's a good thing to practice if you get tense while driving, and who doesn't? Unpinch the face. Shake out the hands. An equally powerful place that emotions play out in our body is in the breath. When we're anxious, our breath tends to become shallow and tight. Our emotional state affects our breathing. Like when we're anxious, we constrict. But it turns out that our breathing also affects our emotional state. The door swings both ways. So we can choose to breathe a certain way, and that will alter our emotional state. If we are anxious, we can choose to breathe in a calming way, and that will lead us to become more calm. Taking long, slow in-breaths, best through the nose, and even longer, slower out-breaths. It exerts a direct, calming influence, quite apart from doing anything about whatever it is we're fretting over, and independent of changing even the way we're thinking about the situation. Right? A lot of times we think, oh, I can't stop thinking about it. You may not be able to stop thinking about it, but you can just choose to do this, and it still helps you. It modifies your state. Now, if you're going to do something like this, it's really good to have a particular breathing routine in mind in advance, so you're not trying to figure out what to do about your breath in the midst of spiking anxiety, right? So, for instance, one good calming breath routine is to breathe in through the nose to a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, and then exhale for a count of 8. Twice as long on the exhale. The long exhale is really the key to the whole thing. And then repeat that cycle several times. And I invite you to give it a try now. It may take a couple of times through just to get the mechanics of it. Don't worry about that at all. So if you want to, let's give it a try. Remember, it'll be in through the nose for 4, hold for 4, out through the lips for 8. So if you're ready, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, and out. Eight, and in, 2, 3, 4, hold, out. And 8. Even though you may not have been feeling anxious when we started, I'm going to guess your heart rate has come down a little bit from doing that exercise. And of course, this is the worst case scenario because it's the first time you're doing it, so you're busy thinking about it. You're not getting the full benefit. This can be very helpful for just choosing to bring down your state of anxiety. The Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh suggests a very, very simple practice for lightening the mental state, the half smile. It's a just barely noticeable upward curl at the corner of the mouth, not a big fake grin, just a very subtle little half smile. You may not even be able to see it in another person, but you can definitely feel it when you do it. You don't want anybody to be taken aback and go, what What are you grinning at? Right? That's too much. Just a subtle little half smile. And I invite you to give that a try just now if you are not too self-conscious about it. Probably no one will notice whether you do it or not, especially since you're wearing a mask, but even if you weren't, just that little half smile is something you can do just about anywhere in almost all circumstances, unless you have to be talking. Having that little half smile on our face seems to say to the subconscious mind that if I'm smiling like that, there must be no leopards around. Just one more approach. Dr. Herbert Benson distilled the essence of many different practices, some of them religious, which he calls the relaxation response, a shift in our bodily state which activates the body's natural healing response. The procedure is to select a word or phrase which carries positive meaning for you, and to then sit with the eyes closed for several minutes, reciting that word or phrase and gently ignoring any other thoughts that might intrude. The phrase could be something of a religious nature, like, "Our Father who art in heaven, our Father who art in heaven," or "The Lord is my shepherd," or "Om Mani Padme Hum." You may have many others that you could think of from religious traditions you're familiar with. Or it could be something non-religious, like, "All shall be well, all shall be well, all shall be well." Or my favorite, "May I dwell in the heart, may I dwell in the heart, may I dwell in the heart." It could even be a single word, like love, 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 or peace, peace, peace. Doing that for several minutes. Research has shown that doing that on a daily basis reduces general susceptibility to anxiety. It's not so much a thing that you're likely to do in the midst of grappling with some situation that's anxiety producing. It's something more of that you do that to, as a practice in advance. It makes you less susceptible to anxiety and promotes general healing for many sorts of ailments. My guess is that it might also lead you to experience more love, more peace, and to dwell in your heart. So when something has drawn us into an anxious state, we need to remember that job one is to dial down the anxiety. Yes, anticipatory, imagination-driven fear is a distorted, malfunctioning state. At least when we're confronting a leopard, we are fully alive and engaged with life. In anxiety, we're kind of holding back, twitching. The thing to do is not to race ahead following the unwise, almost panicky impulses of the anxious state. The thing to do is to first restore our sanity, to get ourselves into a state where our higher functions, our best self, can be expressed. Release muscular tension. Long, slow breathing. A little half smile. Recite a reassuring phrase. may I dwell in the heart. It's like they say in the pre-flight instructions. In the event of an emergency, affix your own oxygen mask before attempting to assist others. I encourage you to plan now to remember, in the event of anxiety, becalm yourself before attempting to fix others. So I invite you now to dwell for a moment in your own thoughts, in your own body. Let this message sink into wherever it belongs. Gently breathe in and out. A moment of quiet contemplation.
Weekly, we share our blessings through donating what we can in money or in time to this congregational community and to the organizations in and around Salem who are doing their part to help others. We donate to the Marion Polk Food Share and, for the month of August, to LUCE, Latinos Unidos Siempre. Their mission is to embody Latino youth to take leadership roles in our community. They do this through education, cultural, social, and political development, and advocating for social and political changes. They were established in 1996 here in Salem. About 13 students came together to fight against immigration raids, high school dropout rate, gang activity, and 4 anti-immigrant proposals in the state legislature. LUCE quickly became the youth arm of Mano a Mano Family Center, their parent organization, as well as being involved with the Salem Kaiser Coalition for Equality. For those of you in person, you may donate to the Marion Polk Food Share by bringing items up to the little red wagon. Bags will also be passed among you for monetary donations. Or you may go to the website, and those of you watching online may go to the website and follow the links to donate. Thank you for your generosity to UUCS and for the wider world of Salem.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others stars do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the lights surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young, May you stay forever young.
Thank you, Marcia, for your beautiful singing today, and Lorianne for leading us through the service. So next Sunday, we get to hear from another one of the homilists. This is Mackenzie Hodges French. She is going to tell her story of how she came to some truths in her lives. From what I heard about it, it sounds very interesting, and I will certainly be here to listen to it. The other thing that is coming up is, as you may have heard the past few weeks, is Connections Group signups. It's time to sign up for Connections Groups, Connection Group signups, in case you haven't heard it enough. The reason, partly why we are encouraging this so much, is that for many of us who are now leading or facilitating the Connections Groups, this is one of the first interactions that we had with other members of the congregation when we became members ourselves. And it just has become a wonderful, meaningful way to also not only deepen your own spiritual experience and life experience, but to get to know other people on a slightly different level than you may interact with them during the 30-minute coffee time. So please, we encourage you to sign up. There are lots of options. Some will be Zoom, some will be in person. If for some strange reason we get in the position we were in 2 years ago, we will all go back to Zoom and keep those connections going, which will be great. And I will be in the fellowship hall for about till 12 o'clock to help you sign up as well if you need help. So thank you for thinking about that and taking the time. And for the rest of the news of the community, lots of things going on. Be sure and check the Friday update email blast that comes out, the newsletter. There were a couple articles I noticed about the GA conference, which was good and interesting. And if you don't have the newsletter or don't get the email blast, contact the office and say, hey, sign me up. This is how you get to me. All right. Thank you so much. That's about it. That is it, except that Reverend Mark is now going to come up and help us light the social justice candle. See, I'm not the only one that's really relaxed today. I'm glad. As he brings forth the social justice candle and lights it, it is a symbolic reminder of the work and justice we do in our daily lives through this work of this congregation. As he extinguishes the other chalices, these words by Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed, I have cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world.
Our closing hymn is number 4, I Brought My Spirit to the Sea, number 4 in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body or spirit or both. I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I gazed in infinity. I heard the waters roar. And then there came a sense of peace. Some whisper calmed my soul. Some ancient ministry of stars that made my spirit whole. I brought my spirit to the trees that loomed against the sky. I touched each wandering, careless breeze to know if God was nigh. And then I felt an inner flame that fiercely burned my tears. Uptight I rose from bended knee to meet the asking ear.
Please join me as we say our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days